ready for some football. I don't know about you. Who else could it be but your man Lou? Yeah.
The LouieTeeNetwork is powered by MusicHead University. MusicHeads, classes in session. Turn me up. Enroll on YouTube now. Link is in the description.
Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie T? Welcome to Thursday Night Football Overtime. So, AFC West family business. You know how the family do it. Broncos, Raiders. Talked about this game on the skill game, how this game was going to be a lot closer than people thought. I did not expect a 3-point contest. I did not expect 10-7. I did not expect. I think this is probably hyperbole, and I'm probably being a prisoner of the moment. I cannot recollect a game in which I saw more field position squandered in my life. Now, again, that probably is hyperbole. I probably have watched games where field position has been squandered even more so than tonight. It just doesn't feel like I've ever watched a game where that much field position was just totally wasted. I mean, in terms of the Raiders in the first half, like it's one thing to go for it on fourth down and not get it, to bypass a field goal opportunity, to get deep into a team's territory, don't want to kick a field goal. It's 4th and 1, 4th and 2, and you decide to hell with the field goal. Let's get the touchdown. To not even get field goal attempts off. Mind-boggling stuff from the Raiders. They dominated the first half of this game and essentially had nothing to show for it, not even attempts at field goals. How many times did they get into Denver Broncos territory? Penalty, sack, loss of yards on a dump down that lost yards, whatever the case may be. They continuously, I mean, the Broncos punter couldn't get right in the first half. Enough of that. 10-7 victory for the Denver Broncos. We'll come back to the Raiders. To the victors go the spoils. Let's talk about the Denver Broncos, who have won their 8th straight game, if I'm not mistaken. And they've just about all been close, with the exception of the Cincinnati game and the Dallas game. Those are the 2 blowouts that they've had this season. Every other game, it felt like it's come down to the last, possession, and this was no different. Raiders had a chance to tie the game, miss a field goal. They were able to run out the clock and secure the victory 10-7. My biggest takeaway from this game, because this honestly, this was a nasty watch, with both teams really struggling to get in any type of rhythm, no consistency on either side, more turnovers than actual big plays made by offenses. I struggle with the Raiders side of things. We'll get to them in a second, but Bo Nix is schizo. His play is schizo. I struggle with Bo Nix. I struggled with him as a collegiate quarterback. I never wanted to buy into him, even when he went to Oregon and kind of reshaped and remade his image of what people thought about him. I still struggled with him because of what he looked like when he was at Auburn. And I know that Oregon offense is tailored towards making quarterbacks look a lot better than what they actually are. But that said, he's played well enough in moments where his team has needed him. Last year to help them make the postseason as a rookie, and this year to get them off to an 8-2 start. It is not a coincidence that they've won close games this season. Bo Nix has done his best work in those moments. And so something has to be said for that. But there are too many misses with Bo Nix. I watched him last week against Houston. I've watched all of his games this season. There are too many misses, right? With clean pockets where his feet are all over the place. There's too many opportunities. He's an athlete, and you forget about him being an athlete because at Auburn, he ran all the time. He got to Oregon, and he ran very little, because, again, that offense is tailor-made for quarterbacks to just stand back there and pick defenses apart, with short passes. Then, those intermediate passes open up, and then eventually you get those opportunities to take it deep. And so you don't really have to run very much in that Oregon offense. And I think there are opportunities for him to take off and run. He refuses to. And again, it's his prerogative. You don't have to take off and run if you don't want to, but if you're going to stand back there, you need to stand back there, plant your feet, drive the football, and be accurate with the football. And too many times tonight, like most nights with Bo Nix, he'll make a throw where you go, that's fantastic, man. That is effing awesome. And then there'll be 2 or 3 more where you go, Bo, buddy, what the hell was that? Like, Peyton dials up this beautiful half rollout play action fake, big ball. He's looking for Troy Franklin on a deep over route. He's got him, lead him up the field towards the pylon. You're talking about a 45, 50-yard gain. Instead, Troy Franklin, has, and a matter of fact, I don't even think it was a deep over route. I think he ran like sort of this pseudo 7 towards like a flat 7, so to speak. But this thing is kind of angling towards up the field, and Bo Nix just takes forever to let it go, first and foremost. And then second of all, doesn't lead him up the field towards the sideline. He just kind of leads him up the field. So he has to stop, plant, try to jump for the football. And it just is a miss. It's a clear miss. You've got Evan Ingram up the sideline. Second week in a row, Evan Ingram's got a chance for a touchdown. Missed him wide open last week against Houston. Missed him again tonight. Didn't set his feet. I don't know what the hell he was doing on that particular play with his feet. His feet were all over the place on that particular play. That ball skips to Evan Ingram. You throw that back shoulder, it's an easy touchdown to Evan Ingram. Instead, it skips 2-3 yards short in front of him. And I'm just looking like, bro, what the hell are you doing? And that's the story of Bo Nix. Bo giveth, Bo taketh away. Now, the interceptions, the first one was on him. You throw a deep ball into double coverage, never give your guy a chance. Again, that's some Bo Nix shit for you, right? The second one really wasn't on him as much. Troy Franklin off of his shoulder pads. I don't even know who that ball was supposed to be intended for. Was it intended for the rookie Pat Bryant, or was it intended for Troy Franklin? Maybe that's what kind of threw Franklin off, is that he sees Bryant kind of reaching for it, and then Bryant like backs off like, I don't know if that's for me. So he lets it go through to Franklin, who I think it was probably intended for, but that, flash of color in front of him, you lose the ball for a second. Now it's on you, pops up into the air, it's picked off. Blue Kelly had 2 interceptions tonight, that being the second of them. And that one wasn't really on Bo Nix, but it was another one of those nights where I'm like, I can't see Denver winning a playoff game. Like, they'd have to have the right matchup for them, like a Pittsburgh team or something like that, that sneaks in the back door, that's not very good, that you don't really trust to go into someone's home and win. It have to be an opponent like that. But if they get a real playoff caliber team, I'm not sure they can beat New England in the first round of the postseason. Like, I feel like New England is the Commanders from last year. So that to me, Denver is ripe for an opportunity to be what Tampa was for Washington. Wild card weekend, an opportunity to go in somebody's house as a division winner with a young quarterback and win. Like, I could see New England going in there and getting it done against Bo Nix and this Denver Broncos football team, because Nix is so schizo. And I struggle with him sometimes. There's the times where that fourth quarter against Philadelphia, the fourth quarter against the Giants, where you go, holy hell, right? The Cincinnati game, where you go, wow, but that's Cincinnati's defense. Everyone does that to their defense. And then there's times when you just like, Bo, and tonight was one of those nights where I'm looking at 16-28, 150, a touchdown, 2 interceptions. Like, Bo, what the hell was that, dude? Seriously. Like, there were so many opportunities on early downs where there was, might have been a little bit of pressure, but there's an easy target right in front of you. This target's not any more than 5 yards in front of him. It's a simple, hey, Bo, just get it to him. This is 1st and 10. Just get it to the running back. Don't skip it to him on the ground 2 yards in front of him. Get it to him, right? And he'll get 4 yards on 1st down. It's the equivalent of a 4-yard run on 1st down, which is what you're aiming for. Just get it to the running back out of the backfield. Get it to R.J. Harvey. He'll do the rest. Nope, skip the football to him. Evan Ingram is open here on 2nd and 15. You just had a penalty. He can get 8-9 yards back right here. Just get it to Evan Ingram. Nope, ball's too far outside. He can't catch it. He has got to be more consistent if this team is to maximize what they are to be this season. This easily could have and probably should have been a loss. The Raiders truly dominated this game. Truth be told, if we're actually analyzing this game for what it's worth, the Raiders outplayed the Denver Broncos tonight. They outplayed them. You have a block kick that led to a field goal, the game-winning field goal, and you essentially have Geno Smith getting hurt, a missed field goal on the Raiders' part, and the inability for the Raiders to get out of their own way. And the Raiders are a bad team, and that's what bad teams do. The Raiders are now 2-7. That's what 2-7 teams do. Again, more games in the NFL are lost than they are won. This is a prime example of that. Sometimes, as a good team, you just got to move out of the way and let a bad team be bad. That's what the Broncos essentially did tonight. They didn't win this game. They moved out of the way and allowed the Raiders to lose this game. And they did it effectively. And they're going to have to be better than this. Tonight, it was good enough to get the win because you played an opponent that allowed you to just move out of the way. But your best is going to be required next week against Kansas City. You can't have this type of effort against Kansas City and expect to beat them. So we'll see what the Broncos will do. You know, these slow starts. This was another slow start despite them not really being behind on the scoreboard. This was another slow start. Raiders took a 7-0 lead. I think I saw the stat they pulled up. Raiders hadn't led after the first quarter. This is most points the Raiders have led by at the end. They were up 7-0. That's the most points they've led by since like 2022 or something like that. I saw like that can't be real. That's a fake stat. It might have been 2024. Whatever. That's still ridiculous. They haven't been up 7-0 at the end of a quarter, end of the first quarter rather. Unreal. But that's the Denver Broncos for you. They struggle to start games, and it happened again tonight. Luckily enough, they had an opponent that wasn't going to run away and hide because the opportunities were clearly there. Really love what J.K. Dobbins has brought to this team. He's a stabilizing force for this offense. Ran the football really effectively tonight. As a matter of fact, what did he end up with on the night? J.K. Dobbins, 18 carries, 77 yards. That's a really good night at the office for J.K. Dobbins. I've been really impressed with him this season and his impact on this offense. A lot of people fail to realize that a staple of Sean Payton's offense is the run game. Like so often people get caught up in Sean Payton's offense and look at it as, oh, Sean Payton is so innovative. He wants to throw the football, yada, yada, yada. And they lose sight of the fact that Sean Payton is a guy that wants to run the football. And Dobbins has given him the ability to do that. So I thought it was another really nice night for J.K. Dobbins. Really effective performance by him. And he was really the one calming force, I thought, that was on the field for the Denver Broncos tonight. Because we simply didn't see that from Bo Nix. He was not a calming influence tonight. I thought that was J.K. Dobbins. The defense was phenomenal. Right? How many times did they sack Geno Smith? We're talking about every bit of what? 6 times tonight, I think Geno was sacked. I mean, Nick Bonito had a sack and a half. Allen, I told anybody that would listen, I remember wanting the Commanders to sign this guy. I still can't believe Arizona let Zach Allen leave after his rookie contract expired. I said, this man, you guys like literally did the legwork. You brought in J.J. Watt for his swan song season in the NFL, allowed J.J. Watt to school this young man and give him all the tricks of the trade, and then you let him leave and become a superstar in Denver. Like, how dumb can you be, right? I mean, he even wears the elbow brace like J.J. Watt. This dude is unblockable, most of the time, and he was just a problem tonight. I think he had 2 sacks tonight. Cooper, I think, had a sack. The other defensive tackle won on a 3rd down and had a sack, if I'm not mistaken. They had like 6 sacks on Geno Smith. That line was just disruptive and destructive. And special teams was awful until the block punt, right? Their punter, I was trying to remember his name. He's got a very easy name if you can just remember the first part. I can't remember because it's like it rhymes. But he was awful. Like he kicked the ball with his shin one time. Like I can't remember seeing a punt look like that before, where it looked like one of us kicked it or something, right? Like that thing was dribbling down the field. He shanked about 3 of them. Like that's what I said. The Raiders squandered so much field position tonight. It's not even funny. Like I can't recall a team doing less with more than the Raiders tonight. And it was because coming into the game, Sean Payton complained about his special teams last week against Houston, and they were even worse tonight until the block punt, which ultimately won them the game because they got a field goal off. Again, more wasted, squandered field position. At least they got a field goal out of it. But my goodness, this was sloppy, man. But in the NFL, none of that matters as long as you come out with another tally mark in the left-hand column. And that's what the Broncos did. You'll fix all of the mistakes. You'll lick all of these wounds with a smile and a dubski. And that's what they did, getting the win 10-7 and improving to an NFL best 8-2 on the season. Meanwhile, for the Raiders, what a disappointing effort tonight from a execution standpoint. Both teams were heavily penalized. The Broncos killed themselves with penalties too. That's something else I need to make sure that I bring up, is that they killed themselves. First of all, they had tremendous special teams from the Raiders that pinned Denver pretty much at their own end zone the entire first half. So they had no room to operate. Credit the Raiders defense for finding ways off the field in those situations, not allowing them to even get a first down to give their punter space to breathe and kick the football. And so that affected the play calling. You kind of were more, conservative. You didn't want to see Bo Nix because, as we saw tonight, Bo easily could make a mistake. So you wanted to kind of keep that at a minimum. And they weren't able to convert. I mean, they didn't get their first down, I believe, until like less than 4 minutes to go in the first half. Because they scored the touchdown right before halftime. So they didn't get a first down for the first, the crowd was getting restless. It was a mess. But if you're the Raiders on their side of things, here's my biggest gripe. And it's situations like this, it's games like this where I marvel at the teams that get this right every week. Because I don't really feel like this is that hard, but yet somehow so many teams struggle with this. And it's getting your best player the football. I don't think the Denver Broncos did anything special tonight to keep Brock Bowers from having an impact on this game. And so it'd be one thing if off the line of scrimmage, he's getting double teamed on every single snap. And you're like, bro, I can't throw the ball to Brock. No, he was open. He had one-on-one. He had opportunities. And it felt like one of those situations where a team tries to outsmart themselves and the other team by saying, I know you're going to try to focus on Brock Bowers, so I'm not going to throw him the football. I'm going to use him as a decoy to get other guys involved. Why? 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 He's Brock Bowers. He's Brock Bowers. He had 12 catches last week, 3 touchdowns last week. Why aren't you throwing the football to Brock Bowers? I marvel at the Rams every week that Puka Nacua plays. Puka Nacua missed the game 3 weeks ago. They had a bye. He comes back, and it's like he never left. This man has 6 catches in like the first quarter. They don't hide the fact that they're going to get Puka Nacua the ball. They don't try to be deceptive with it. He's our guy, and we're going to feed him the rock. Can you stop it? Good luck. You're going to need it, but we're going to get it to him. Jamar Chase, just about every week. You know he's going to get the football. He's going to end up with 7 or 8 catches. You know it. Good luck trying to stop it. They're going to move him around just like the Rams move around Puka Nacua. They're going to move him around, and they're going to make sure that their guy touches the football an adequate amount of times. I marvel at the teams that get that right week in and week out because there's so many teams that F it up. And I struggle with the notion of, well, the defense dictates where the bullshit. You're the offense. The ball is in your hands. You dictate where the football goes, not them. Sometimes they play the right coverage for the play that you have called and you can't get it to your guy. Okay, yeah, that happens. That doesn't happen for 70 snaps in a football game, okay, where you can't get it to him 8 or 9 times. I refuse to believe that Brock Bowers only had 1 catch tonight. That is asinine. There's no Patrick Surtain on the field. There isn't a single Bronco defender that can cover this man one-on-one. They put the rookie, Jahdae Barron, on him, and he smoked him for a 31-yard gain, and he never got the football again as in a reception opportunity. He had a stupid-ass jet sweep that went for like -6. He never caught another pass the rest of the night. You got to be shitting me. On a night where you had tremendous field position basically throughout, this man touched the ball 1 time after having 12 catches last week. Make it make sense. I struggle. Make it make sense. We can throw the ball to Ashton Genty 19 times. We can hand it to him another 12 times, but we can't get it to Brock Bowers more than once? I'm at a loss. I struggle with this. This is the shit I struggle with. I struggle with the teams that try to convince me that I got to go where the defense. No, you don't. No, not true. I have a mismatch. So I'm going to create opportunities for my mismatch to win. I'm going to create opportunities to get the ball in the hands of my best player. Your job is to try and stop me from doing that. I'm not going to stop myself. There were plays where Geno wasn't even looking his way. Like there was one play early in the game. Brock Bowers runs up the seam, wide ass open. Geno's looking that way. Like, bro, it's 3rd down. You think I'm not staring down Brock Bowers? Sorry, not sorry. As soon as he comes off the line, hey, Brock, let me get it to you, bro. Especially if they're going to give you a free release and nobody's going to be underneath that route. Oh, yeah, I'm getting it to Brock Bowers. You're going to be coughing up Brock Bowers until you stop it. You getting a ton of 89. They refused to throw it to him. Michael Mayer had more catches tonight. That should never happen. Michael Mayer had more catches tonight than Brock Bowers. Again, I can't make this shit up. I can't make this shit up. And you want to know why you're 2-7? You want to know why you're 2-7? There you go right there. That's dumb football 101. Get your best players the football. Brock Bowers is an uncoverable tight end in this league, and there is no position on the field in today's NFL that is more of a mismatch than the tight end position, and you didn't take advantage of it on a night where you had tremendous field position throughout. There was no excuse for you not to have multiple scoring opportunities, even if they were field goal attempts, if you would have just gotten the ball to Brock Bowers. But it is what it is. I agree. Not I agree. I am perplexed. I am befuddled. I struggle with teams that have a player. He is a rare breed. He is a unicorn in this league. There aren't a ton of guys that can do what Brock Bowers can do. And yet, he doesn't get the football. Arizona makes it their business to try and get Trey McBride involved in the football game. Every week. He's set an NFL record for the most games with 5 catches or more at the tight end position. I think he's working on 8 straight games of 5 catches or more. Well, you know why? Because he's Trey McBride. And teams can't cover him. Every week he's a mismatch. So every week we're going to feed 85. It's not hard. It really isn't. But so often teams make things so much harder than they have to be. I always struggle with this when offensive coordinators try to sound like the smartest guy in the room. Quarterbacks sit at the podium and talk about, yeah, I got to go where the defense dictates. Like, no, you don't. No, you don't. You have this guy right here, which is why I always struggle with the Commanders and not getting Terry McLaurin more involved, because you got a guy that you can feed the football to. Get him the football. And that's on a much smaller scale. Terry McLaurin isn't Brock Bowers. He isn't Jamar Chase. He isn't Justin Jefferson. He isn't one of these dynamic, God, we can't cover this guy type of athletes. But he's still a guy that you can get the football to. Neither is Puka Nacua. But you know what Puka Nacua always does? Gets his hands on the football. That's scheme. That's coaching. That's intent. You have to be intentional about getting your best players the football. And tonight, I thought the Raiders failed by not getting the ball and having intent to get the ball to their best player in Brock Bowers. That's where the game was won and lost for me. The defense played way too well tonight. The defense was exceptional. AJ Cole was exceptional. You had complimentary football everywhere except offense. Obviously, the missed field goal hurt you late from Daniel Carlson. But you had complimentary football keep you in this game, and the one facet of the game that didn't hold up their end of the bargain was the offense and Chip Kelly. They laid a big, fat, nasty, stinking egg on offense. The defense played their asses off, forced 2 turnovers, got stop after stop after stop. What were the Raiders on third downs? Or Broncos, excuse me. What were they on third downs? I'm curious. They were awful. Had to be. 5 of 15, 33% on third downs were the Raiders tonight. The Broncos tonight. The Raiders defensively were borderline dominant. I don't think that the Broncos hit 300 yards of total offense. That's my guess. With Bo Nix having 150 yards rushing and their leading rusher, J.K. Dobbins, having 70-something yards rushing, no one else had, a ton of yards rushing. Harvey barely got the ball on the ground. Bo Nix didn't have any real runs on the ground. I'm pretty sure that they had sub 300 yards tonight of total offense. 33% on third downs. They were 1 of 2 in the red zone. The Raiders defensively did their job. The special teams pinned them deep time after time after time after time. They did their job, except, again, for the missed field goal by Daniel Carlson. But they did their job. The offense did not. They had tons of opportunities. But when you're 2-7, this is what you do. You waste opportunities. You have bad penalties. Geno Smith with an intentional grounding. You take sacks that knock you out of field goal range. You have a holding penalty by a receiver on a 30-yard run where he's already out of the play and he's still holding for no reason, right? And I don't want to kill Bachman because he didn't know where, Genty was. All he knows is the run is coming his way. He didn't know Genty had already cut it back. But at some point, you got to let go, bro. This is what bad teams do, though. They shoot themselves in the foot. That's what the Raiders did tonight. And Geno Smith, got to credit him for trying to tough it out. But at some point, you got to ask yourself, is you being in the game hurting your team or is it helping your team? I didn't think he was helping his team by being in the football game. You want to be out there, you want to be, a warrior. You want to show your teammates you're going to go to battle and war with them no matter what. You're going to fight through it. Everybody's got something they're dealing with. But if you're Pete Carroll, you got to make the executive decision and say, hey, Geno, come on. We're going to go with Kenny Pickett here. Like, Geno could barely move. So that hurt them in the drop back game. They ran it probably a little bit more than they wanted to just to protect Geno. And again, I just struggle with the inability to get the ball to their best players. You had a 4th and 1 to Trey Tucker. It's wide open. And, you can't, I always say you can't take the young boys nowhere, right? You can't take the young boys nowhere. You can't take rookies nowhere. Can't take them nowhere. Because the lights are too bright, the stage is too big, and this is what these rookies do. When you take them out there, they get stage fright. And Dante Thornton Jr., opportunity, man, big opportunity. There's no more Jacoby Myers. They need somebody to step up. I said I thought it was going to be Trey Tucker with a sprinkle of Lockett. Lockett did his thing tonight. But Thornton had an opportunity. All you got to do is fake like you're catching the ball. Just run, turn around, and do this. He would have been the safety. Brandon Jones had no idea where Thornton was. He didn't have to do anything. He would have never gotten out there. That same play would have worked. It's 4th and 1. Trey Tucker up the sideline was going to score a touchdown. Instead, it's negated. The Raiders squandered so many opportunities tonight. It's not even funny. How about Dante Thornton Jr. again, streaking down the sideline on a double move? A stop and go. Got him. He's on top of him by at least 2.5, maybe 3 steps. Geno drops it perfectly over the outside shoulder, right through his hands. That's what 2-7 teams do. That is what 2-7 teams do. So Denver gets away with the win tonight, 10-7. Wowie. Wowie. Who had that on their bingo card? 17 combined points between the two teams. 17 points. Wowzers. Sheesh. Anyway, I digress. Let's get to the skill game. Brought to you by Sleeper. We'll take a look at the ticket. I actually had 2 of them that I put together for tonight's game. Obviously, with no offense on either side, neither ticket had a chance. And the crazy part is that crazy ticket we put together today literally had a chance. It was a much better chance of that one being punched than the one I put together that I thought, oh man, this is going to be great. And Brock Bowers getting the ball one time basically killed that ticket before it even had a chance to get off the ground. Neither team getting to the red zone and having chances to score the football killed, basically both of the damn tickets. But I digress. Let's get to the skill game, brought to you by Sleeper.
The skill game, brought to you by Sleeper.
All right. So Sleeper is a fantasy sports real money gaming app that focuses on bringing people together through sports and gaming. Sleeper has become the fastest organically growing fantasy platform in the world with over 10 million active users in the fine year of 2025. Are you one of those 10 million? If not, here's an opportunity to become one of the 10 million. There's a link in the description of this video. Click that, It'll take you to where you can download the app. Make sure Sleeper is available in your area. It's available in over 25 states in the U.S. If it is available in your state, let's get to work. Download the app. They'll give you $20 free once you verify you are who you say you are. $20 free without having to do anything. And then I advocate that you use my promo code LTN to get you 100% match on your first deposit up to $100. That's right, a dollar for dollar match. You put in 100, they'll give you an additional 100. That's $200 plus the 20 they gave you for just downloading the app and being a human being. That's $220. Now let's go to work. And you can put some money in your pocket because, as you know, it doesn't take a lot to win a lot. So let's take a look at what happened tonight to my poor tickets that I put in. So I had this was the ticket that let's go to the ticket I put together by myself, and then we'll get to the one that I put together with you guys. Okay, so this was the ticket that I put together by myself. This one never had a shot. So I had RJ Harvey for an anytime touchdown. So Cortland Sutton, 3 catches. He got that. I figured he'd get that pretty easily, and he barely got 3 catches, right? Like, it was just a tough night offensively all the way around. You're thinking he got 2 catches relatively early. There were opportunities for him to get other catches, and just Bo Nix just off the mark, but he got the 3 catches. But RJ Harvey, they tried to get him an opportunity in space down in the red zone on the first touchdown drive, the only touchdown drive of the night for the Broncos. They threw him a little swing screen with a blocker out in front. I thought he misread the block. I thought he should have went inside of that block. He tried to go outside of it. There was nowhere for him to go. I understand that there were, defenders coming over from the weak side, and he wasn't going to win a foot race there, but that was your best shot, to just go inside that block and see if you can put your head down, maybe make someone miss a tackle, get in the end zone. That was the one shot he had to score, and he didn't get it done. I thought there would be more opportunities throughout the course of the game. I had no idea that they would not score another touchdown the rest of the night. Brock Bowers, as I mentioned, the number was 6.5, guys and gals. The number was 6.5 for Brock Bowers tonight on receptions. I pulled it down to 5 because I wasn't comfortable with 7 catches, which this is automatic. He's getting 5. I pulled the number down to 5. He had 1. Inexplicable. You want to know why you lost? Start right there. Genty, I thought he could have a longer run than 14 yards. He had a 31-yard run negated by a penalty. It's what bad teams do. I knew he was going to have at least one big run. He had it, and it got robbed from him by his own teammate. Bowers, anytime touchdown, the Raiders made it down there one single time. With all the field position they had throughout the night, with all the opportunities they had throughout the night, they made it down there one time, and that one time went to Genty on a touchdown, which is crazy because I had Genty on this particular ticket initially. Instead of Dobbins' longest run, I had Genty for an anytime touchdown, and I took him off because I'm like, the Raiders aren't going to score a bunch of points, and I don't want to have 2 different Raiders up here needing both of them to have to score a touchdown. I'm only comfortable with 1, and I picked the wrong one, obviously. Didn't matter, right? Didn't matter. It's a lot of red up here, not enough green. J.K. Dobbins, speaking of which, longest rush, 16.5 yards, need him to get a 17-yard run. His biggest run was 13 yards, so he didn't hit that. Harvey, his longest catch, I needed it to be 9 yards. It was 7 yards. Just, again, they didn't have enough offensive snaps, right? If they would have played more football, converted more third downs, had the ball more, Harvey would have not only had a reception over 9 yards, he would have probably gotten into the end zone. They have been feeding him the football a ton this last month or so. These last 3 weeks before tonight, he had scored a touchdown in every single game. He was going to be more a part of this. And again, if Bo Nix wasn't so schizo, there were throws where Harvey's open and Bo Nix is skipping it at his feet. So Troy Franklin was open a couple times down the field. The one that he had that was 18 yards, I'm fussing at him because I'm like, bro, stay in bounds. He's tiptoeing the sidelines and runs out at 18. I needed it to be 20. Such is life, right? Such is life. So that was the one that I had put together. This one was dead once Bowers was only getting targeted, twice. I think we had 2 targets in the game. 3 targets for Brock Bowers tonight. Three whole targets. 3 whole targets. Unreal. So this was the one we put together, right? So Genty for 3 catches, 2.5 receptions. I took more. He had 3 catches. I really thought that Genty would catch more passes. He had 1 go off of his, hands into the hands of the Denver Broncos for an interception. And there were some that Geno, just like Bo, missed. He's open. He skipped it to him, right? Feet aren't set. Had Nick Bonito, shout out to my guy, Sheree. When we did the skill game, Sheree was like, I need something that's a guarantee tonight to throw on the end of this thing. I've already got 7 picks on this ticket. I want 8, but I need something that's a low risk, high reward, right? It's not going to add a ton of money, but it's going to add enough money to this multiplier at the back end that we know isn't going to affect the ticket. It's not going to hurt us. We're definitely hitting this. Like in the NBA, that's the equivalent of a Giannis double-double. All right, just throw that on the end of the ticket. Giannis is going to get at least 10 rebounds and at least 10 points. You know that. Throw a Karl Anthony Towns, a cat double-double on your ticket. It's going to score, right? He's getting double-digit rebounds and points. And shout out to my guy, Sheree. I was thinking, I couldn't think of anything. I was about to get out of there, and he was like, yo, either one of the dudes, man, Allen or Bonito, they're both getting a sack tonight. Geno's not running anywhere. I'm like, you're a smart guy. Went and put Nick Bonito up here. You knew he was getting to the quarterback tonight. He hadn't had a sack in 3 weeks. I saw he's due. Allen got it first. Bonito was there shortly thereafter. So that was another winner for me on this ticket. It was the last of the winners. So crazy enough, the 31-yard catch by Bowers ultimately ended up being the thing that got me closer than the 5 catches I had on my other ticket. I thought, I'm not sure if he'll have the yards tonight. This could have easily been a 5-catch, 48-yard game where it's kind of ho-humish, but the 31-yarder set the stage where I'm like, oh, he might not have the catches, but he's going to get the yards. He never touched it again in a receiving capacity the rest of the night. It's just unreal. Ingram, he had at least 5 attempts his way, right? Only the 2 that he caught were actually catchable footballs because of Bo Nix's inaccuracy. So Bo screwed me here. He literally destroyed this entire ticket pretty much by himself. Bo Nix's inaccuracy cost me 2 catches with Ingram, which would have gotten me to 4, including a touchdown, right? I told you he had a touchdown, back shoulder, wide ass open in the end zone. He skips it to him short by about 3 yards. So that would have not only gotten me closer to the 4 receptions, it would have also got me my anytime Evan Ingram touchdown. 2 birds would have been killed essentially with 1 stone. But Bo Nix was ass tonight. Same with RJ Harvey. He had 2 catches. He had 3. Now, there was 1 that was negated via penalty. That was an attempt that was incomplete anyway, but it was negated. So it doesn't show up here that it was an attempt, but there was a 4th that Bo Nix skipped at his feet and didn't give him a chance to catch. And so Harvey should have had 3 catches bare minimum, which would have got me the more on the 2.5. But again, Bo Nix was just funky tonight. So he really hurt me because I really should have gotten Ingram, Harvey, and the Ingram anytime touchdown. Lockett never had a shot. They got down there 1 time, and they allowed Genty to get in on the ground, and they never got down there again. So I really believe if they would have gotten down there a couple more times, Lockett would have found the end zone. But it just never came to fruition. And then Bowers, I'm just still befuddled how we didn't get to. He had a 31-yard catch and we couldn't get to 65 yards. And that 31-yard catch, that came relatively early in the game, and we somehow couldn't get to 65 yards. Unreal. This ticket actually, and I said this has 0 chance of hitting, and of course it did not. This actually had a realistic shot of hitting if these 2 teams weren't ass-tastic tonight. This had a way better chance of hitting than the ticket that I actually handcrafted, put together, that I thought this is going to be a great ticket. It wasn't even close. So, yeah, this was pretty. I'm disappointed that this didn't come closer to hitting. You know, there's always one and that, you know, gets you on these types of tickets when it's this many, you know, parlays that you need all of these to hit. Something always gets you, but there shouldn't have been this much red. There should have been a lot more green here. Should have been a lot more green, but as they say, I'll get them next time. So that's going to do it for me with Sleeper here on the skill game. Make sure you use my promo code LTN to get you 100% match. You know what I did? I looked at some of my old tickets when I first started, because, you know, this was all new to me, right? I hadn't done any, you know, apps, betting, any of that stuff before this. Yeah, I never had done it before. So when I first started, I was like, really like, okay, I'm just going to do 3. You have to do 3. I'm just going to do 3. And I was winning like that. I did 3, I did 4, and I was winning. And then I saw other guys winning with like 7 and 8. They were filling it up, all 8 of them. And I'm like, that looks like a lot more money, but it's a lot more volatile, obviously. So what I've realized is you're going to hit some of those, you know, 7 and 6 and 8, you know, leg parlays and tickets, but those are going to be rare because you need a lot to go right. But in the meantime, what I have to do is, and I'm learning. I told y'all, I'm a person that studies, and it doesn't really take me long to figure it out. You know, you can have some of these, but you got to have the ones that you know, steadily are winning, right? Boop, 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 4, bam. It might not be but $70, but $70 beats no money, right? And that's enough to keep enough money in here where you can keep making a $10 bet here, $10 bet there, right? You got to be smart about it. And so I'm learning, like, okay, boop, 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 boop. That $70 win gives you a chance to then make a reckless bet over here with anytime touchdowns or field goals. You know, I used to put the field goal thing together. I stopped doing that because, like, I'm doing all these other bets and, like, you're not winning and the money's running out and you're like, hey, hold on a second. So I got the win the other day that put some money back on the account. So now I got to take that money and make it multiply. So I'm going to figure this. I'm figuring it out brick by brick. I got to go back to my roots where, okay, three parlays on this ticket. That's it. Let's get that win. All right. Get that $70. Turn that 70 into hopefully 170, and then turn that 170 into 500, and then that 500 into 1,300. That you got to be boop, 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 boop. I'm about to show y'all, about to put it all together for y'all. But that's the Sleeper app and the skill game brought to you by Sleeper.
The skill game brought to you by Sleeper.
All right, so let's get to the comment section real quick. I don't see any super chats. I'll take a couple comments and then we'll get out of here. John Wynn says, somebody told me that JSN was better than Jamar Chase regardless on passing yards. He's better than Jamar Chase this season. He's on pace to set the NFL record for most receiving yards in a single season. So, yeah, he's better than him right now. I don't think he's better than Jamar Chase overall, like on his own merit, just individually. But right now, the way he's playing, no one in the league is better than him right now. Sheree says, as a Broncos fan, my expectation was 10 to 12 wins in the divisional round appearance, but this offense is so bad. Whoever they play in wild card is going to have a field day defensively. Yeah, it's pretty disappointing because the offense is only going to go as far as Bo Nix takes them. Like, unfortunately, your run game is good. It's not good enough to carry this team. So you're going to need Bo Nix to make some throws, and he's capable of doing that. But you don't know, and this is why I say Bo Nix is schizo. You don't know which Bo Nix is going to show up. Is it the one that played against Dallas? Is it the one that played against Cincinnati? Because that Bo Nix can shred a defense, right? Or is it the one that played tonight? Is it the one that played against Philadelphia for 3 quarters? Is it the one that played against the Giants for 3 quarters? Because that guy is going to get you ousted in the first round of the postseason in Wild Card Weekend. So that's the real issue, is what Bo Nix is going to show up. He's schizo to me. And you can't win when it matters most with a quarterback that you can't be sure of what you're going to get from that guy. But here's what I do like about Bo Nix. When the game's on the line, that's when he plays his best football. You just got to get him to that point. And with this defense that you have, most times you're going to find yourself in the ball game unless you're turning the ball over ridiculously and you're giving the other team opportunities to score. Again, you were lucky you were playing the Raiders tonight. That's 2 weeks in a row. You've played 2 offensively challenged football teams, which have allowed you to get away with a victory. But this defense is good enough to turn good offenses into subpar performances, i.e. the Philadelphia Eagles, right? So we'll see, but I don't necessarily disagree with you on, if this doesn't improve, hard to see you getting out of the wild card. I've already said I can see New England coming into Mile High and winning in Wild Card Weekend with no problem. Sheree says, how would you power rank the top 6 AFC teams as of right now? It's hard to power rank the top 6 because I don't think the top 6 teams right now are actually the top 6 teams that will be there when postseason. Like, I expect Baltimore to win their division and be one of the scariest teams come playoff time. I think Kansas City, who, if the playoffs started today, would not be in the postseason right now. I'm never counting out Mahomes and the Chiefs. Are you kidding me? So they would have to be somewhere near the top there. I really like what New England is doing, right? I really like what they're doing, but it's still a young quarterback, and Drake May is still prone to mistakes. So I still have to get comfortable with the idea of him being able to win you some of those games in those, hostile environments against really good teams. But he's already gone into Buffalo and won. So that was a great litmus test for him, and he passed. But I think I would put them third right now. Again, Indianapolis, really good season thus far. I don't trust Daniel Jones. And you saw why against Pittsburgh. They turned the ball over 5 times. He was awful. If Jonathan Taylor and that run game can't get going and you have to rely on Daniel Jones, bad things can happen. He's still Daniel Jones at the end of the day. So I'd put them 4th. I'd put this Broncos team probably 5th. And I'm trying to make sure I'm not forgetting anybody. Chargers, no. North, no. South, no. East. Bills, that's who I'm forgetting. So I'd take the Bills. I'd put them. I think I'd put Buffalo. I'd put Baltimore first. A healthy Baltimore, I think, is the best team in the AFC. I think I'd put Buffalo under them. Remember, Buffalo beat Baltimore, but they were getting smoked in week 1 till Derrick Henry fumbled the football. That game was pretty much over. So give me Baltimore 1, Buffalo 2, Kansas City 3, Colts 4, Broncos 5, and I guess the winner of Sunday Night Football, Chargers, Steelers, give me them at 6. Give me them at 6. So Ravens 1, Bills 2, Chiefs 3, Colts 4, Broncos 5. Winner of Sunday Night Football, Chargers and Steelers. Give me them 6. With the loser going to 7 and the Jacksonville Jaguars at 8. That's kind of how I see and an AFC shaping up right now. But, we'll see. We'll see. Lots of football left. But, it's crazy. I always tell you guys, cherish this football. The podcast hasn't been around this year because I would have told you this when we hit week 9, but it literally feels like week 1 was just 2 weeks ago. I swear it does. It's week 10, folks. We've hit double digits. It will be Thanksgiving. It will be week 12. I think Thanksgiving is on week 13 this year. Normally it's on week 12, but Thanksgiving is the last week of November this year. So it's week 13 this year. Thanksgiving is. It'll be Thanksgiving before you know it. We're already at week 10. We wait so long for this thing, and now it's already halfway done. If you're a Commanders fan, you're probably not pissed about that, and you want it to move even faster, and now it's going to slow down. Watch. Yeah, Samuel just basically said what I said. I felt like the season started yesterday. F you mean it's already week 10. Exactly, Samuel. Exactly. Exactly. Also, Samuel, great call on this one. Rip to Marshawn Nealon, man. Really tragic situation. And I'm probably going to say this on multiple shows, but I can't stress this enough. And I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. I'm going to say it many more times. Mental health is real. Take care of yourselves, please. This is why I tell you people, I don't really do social media for real. Because mental health is a real thing, and social media is bad for your mental health. Please take care of yourselves. Please do. That's a really sad situation. 24 years old, struggling with mental issues, took his own life. It's really unfortunate. NES Tecmo, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the comment. He says, this game made me sad because if JD5 has that defense, and mad for old coaches putting both QBs on the field when they shouldn't be out there. I know. Like, you can't. This is the thing that I love about having the opportunity to watch other teams play, is you see the things that your team either does really well or doesn't, or has or doesn't have. And watching this football makes me understand just how far we are from having a defense that's worth a damn. Like, watching Zach Allen, for instance, we don't have a defensive tackle that can do that. Just flat out win. Use hands, get by the offensive lineman, and get to the quarterback. That was supposed to be Deron Payne. He ain't doing that shit. All right. It was crazy because Kirk Herbstreit was like, whatever side that center turns to, right? Whatever side they declare is the strength of the defense, we're going to turn the center that way, and we're going to double team that way. The other defensive tackle gets one-on-one, and that guy's winning. So when they did it early in the game, Zach Allen got one-on-one, sack. So then they turned it this way, the other guy, sack. So then they turn it back that way, Zach Allen, sack. Then when you forget about them, bam, Nick Bonito off the edge, sack. Yeah, that's rushing 4, man. Like, they didn't blitz a ton tonight. And when they did, Talanoa Hufanga off the edge. That's a simple blitz that needed to be picked up by Raheem Mostert, and he just blew it, right? But still, must be nice. Must be nice. Must be nice. Kevin the PRF says, I wish I could look into the minds of players like Max Crosby and Myles Garrett, willingly reeing up with bad organizations. Wonder why Michael Parsons isn't the standard. First of all, you act like Michael Parsons forced his way out of Dallas. He wanted to stay in Dallas. He tried to go back. Jerry Jones pretty much told him, You got to play on the final year of your rookie contract if you want to stay in Dallas. And Micah was like, are you kidding me? Remember, Micah said, trade me. Jerry said, okay. Micah then had his agent reach back out to Jerry one final time. Like, bro, can we find a way to get this shit done? Seriously. Like, let's not prop Micah up like Micah forced the Cowboys' hand. He wanted to stay in Dallas. Jerry Jones is a buffoon, and so he traded him. Look, you got to understand the psychology of a player, bro. No player wants to leave the team that drafts them. It has to be an extreme circumstance. They got to feel disrespected. Like you in your mind, again, this is athletic arrogance. I talk about this all the time. In your mind, you want to be a part of the solution. Like, I'm going to help us turn this around. You don't go into a season thinking, oh, we ass and we ain't going to never be good. You're thinking, we're like, if I'm Myles Garrett and you see how bad you were, and you see what position you are in the draft, you're thinking to yourself, we're one Jaden Daniels away from us turning this shit around. Why we can't be them? Our defense is already good. You just get us the right quarterback, and why can't we be the Washington Commanders? That's what he's thinking. Max Crosby's like, first of all, Max Crosby wasn't Myles Garrett. He wasn't the number 1 pick in the draft. He wasn't the number 2. I think Myles Garrett was the number 2 pick in the draft. He wasn't. Max Crosby was a 3rd-round pick, if I'm not mistaken. 3rd or 4th. I think he was a 3rd-round pick out of Eastern Michigan. It's not like teams were over here, clamoring over this guy, and he went top 7. Everybody passed on him. And the Raiders said, we think highly enough of you to make you an NFL 3rd-round pick. He's loyal to them because of that. I don't want to go anywhere else. Now, when they didn't want to hire Antonio Pierce, he put his foot down and said, if y'all don't give AP the job, I'm out. So you got that kind of power. You wield it when you need to, but you don't want to leave the team that drafted you. And so you think if we get the right guy under center, we got a chance to turn this thing around. And I want to be a part of it when it does turn around. Kevin, the PRF says, I forgot till tonight Pickett was in Vegas. Didn't even get to unlock his suitcase in Cleveland. I, too, forgot he was in Vegas. So that makes 2 of us. I did not know he was the backup. I still somehow was thinking that Aiden O'Connell was the backup there. But I think he got hurt earlier in the season. But I had no idea it was Kenny Pickett until Geno got hurt and he had to come in the game. So that makes 2 of us. DJ23 writes, in the words of Ed, you should have flexed. Flexing is so stupid. You don't win any money when you flex. And it's not like, all right, you flex. Let's say you put together a 6-leg parlay. And you flex, and if you get 5, like let's say, and it's for $400, and you flex it, and they say, all right, you get 6 of these right, you get 300, or you get 250. Well, let's say you get half of it. 200 with 6 right, with 5 right, you get 100, with 4 right, you get 50, right? That's not even how it works. It's like you get 6 right. If it's 400, you get 6 right, you get $40. You get 5 right, you get $25. You get, 4 right, you get $12. Like, what am I supposed to do with that? And you can say, well, it's better than nothing. No, I'd rather just have nothing. Sorry. Because what if I get all of them right? It's still, you're not getting enough money for getting them all right. So, yeah, flexing is whack. But shout out to Ed, though. Shout out to Ed. Sheree says, how do you see the Tampa-New England game playing out? That's one of the more interesting games of the week. Tampa's coming off the bye. New England is hot right now. I like New England, but I took Tampa in that game. I like what New England's doing, but New England easily could have lost to Atlanta. New England has been playing really good football, but they've also been playing a bunch of scrub teams. They've also been playing a bunch of junior varsity squads. So they're going to see a real team on Sunday. coming off of a bye now. The only thing I worry about Tampa coming off this bye is, will they be rusty? Will they come out of the gate slow and allow New England to build some confidence early? But if I know Tampa like I think I know Tampa, they're going to be able to set the tone offensively, score on that defense, and force Drake May to feel like he's got to put his Superman cape on, force him into a mistake or two, and they're going to be able to win that game. So I got Tampa winning that game. But I wouldn't be shocked if New England goes in there and wins. They're hot right now. Really hot right now. So anyway, I digress. That's the last comment. Let's get out of here. Big win for Denver, even though it was as sloppy as it gets. You take them any way you can get them in this league, right? A win's a win's a win in the National Football League, as I always like to say. And you don't give them back, right? Ain't no receipts for these shits. Once you get it, you got it, right? And this ain't college. We don't count style points here. It's just about wins and losses. Put another one in the left-hand column. That's what Denver did tonight, 10-7. They're now 8-2 on the season, best record in the National Football League. We'll see if it holds up. We'll see if they can continue to get by playing this brand of football. They've played a lot of close games this season. And, when it's your season, when you're having one of those years where the ball bounces your way, where you're winning the close games, you got a chance to do something special. And that's where Denver is right now. But you're going to have to play better than this. You're going to have to play better than this. I assure you of that. When you play better teams, this type of effort will not be good enough. The penalties were a problem tonight. The turnovers were a problem tonight. The inefficiency on third downs was a problem tonight. You're going to have to be better than this moving forward if you are to maximize the potential of this season. But you get the win tonight, 10-7, run your record to 8-2. Raiders, this was an abomination from the standpoint of not getting the ball to Brock Bowers. 1 catch, 31 yards, a 1 run for -2 or 4, something to that effect. You scored 7 points. You had tremendous field position pretty much the entire night. You had 2 interceptions that gave you some good field position. And you squandered it repeatedly over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. You had a 4th down where you went for it, got it, had a bad OPI. You had an opportunity before the half to get some points, deep ball, perfectly thrown, drop. You had a field goal there that could tie the game up, give you a chance to fight, miss. Like, it's what 2-7 teams do. It's what 2-7 teams do. But I digress. You guys, get out of here. Have a good one. Take care. Peace.